Good afternoon and welcome. Welcome indeed, yes, to a Monday edition of the Mark Mosey Show podcast, as we're always broadcasting from the Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Take back control of your life. Call them today, 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. It's Anidjar and Levine, Accident Attorneys. And to now talk all things NFL and especially his Buccaneers was the birthday boy from over the weekend. He is Luke Easterling-Athlon Sports. Luke, how you doing today, buddy?
I mean, that was a rough game. I had a great weekend otherwise. Fantastic week celebrating with the family. And but yeah, that was I expected the Bucs to lose that game. I did not expect it to look that bad in just about every way. So it was great. I got some work done. I got to wash the dishes and stuff while the game continued to go on behind me because I knew I wasn't missing anything. But yeah, it was not a fun 60 minutes for Bucs fans.
All right. We do not at this hour have the ultimate update on Baker Mayfield, but I'll ask you this question. What happened last night right before half where he injured himself?
That was like bad Baker. Like that was like super, like I have to go be Superman. Like I know I'm injured, but I'm going to like throw it 100. Like I still think I can throw the ball 70 yards, even though I'm like, he's got to like, that's on the coaching staff. Like you have to save him from himself in that situation. Like I know it was fourth down, like just punt the ball out of bounds. Like tell Riley Dixon, put this in the 8th row, wherever your mom is sitting, like go kick it to her. And let's go to the half. Like, there's no reason to do that. And honestly, at that point, like, I don't know if that play made anything worse. Like, I don't know if he like injured it any further than it was already injured because he was already like, it was already a problem. And I think whether or not that play happens, they go into halftime. They probably say, hey, you're not coming back out. We're going to bring Teddy in. We're just going to cut our losses and move on. We don't want you to get hurt. So that play was stupid. It was a bad idea. I don't know if it made anything worse. I just know it looked really bad. It was a stupid thing to do, like from a coaching decision. I think Baker probably knows that too. But yeah, I just it's all going to hinge on the prognosis. Again, when we're recording this, we don't really know what the prognosis is. Hopefully, the MRI is good, and he's kind of week to week more than he's out for a while. But that's going to have a huge impact on whether or not the Bucs can make the playoffs.
It's so hard to watch where no one hit him. I could understand if it's Aaron Donald's coming down at him, but it was like you said, it was him just trying to throw the ball. I don't know about you as a former quarterback, high school and college. Dude, I did that 15 years ago just playing beer league softball, smashing into another player, and it was my non-throwing shoulder. It took me – I know I'm not Cam Newton Superman here. It took me a year where I finally felt okay with that left shoulder. And I'm not playing NFL quarterback. I do not expect this guy to play. And then I'm sorry, I don't. And again, that is a painful injury. Painful. In your career, did you have any type of injury like that as a quarterback?
Well, and I want to make one thing clear. The injury did not happen on that play. It happened 3 or 4 play, like the previous drive. I think he had a run where he like tried to run over 2 defenders and he got hit on that shot. Like that's when it happened because he ended up in the tent and they tried to take a look at it. He went back out there, shouldn't have gone back out there. But just to give fans an idea, like you can still hurt your non-throwing shoulder when you're trying to throw the ball 70 yards because you have to torque your entire body. Like you have to generate follow through. And that, I mean, you still need that energy basically to assist in that motion. So that's why he still went down kind of clutching at it after that throw because it's still using the shoulder. It had just happened on the previous drive. You know, I have injured the non-throwing shoulder. I had a pretty bad injury to my collarbone and my sternum on my throwing shoulder side that took about 6 months to come back from. Thankfully, neither of those things need surgery. I mean, I'm sure if I had an MRI now, I would probably get a doctor to tell me I probably need surgery on one of these. But at this point in my life, I don't think it's necessary. But no, listen, man, there's a reason that level, again, even in college, I played at a level that I would say I played NAIA ball, right? So that's like, as a draft guy, I would say that's a small school program. You guys, I'm telling you, if you haven't played football at even that level, every time you jump from high school to college, from college, at the lowest levels to the FBS, from the FBS to the NFL, every time you make that jump, it's so much bigger than you think it is. I promise you. Like the school I played at, we were bad. Like we were not a good football team. We were a program that were just starting out, and we put in so much work, and we had so much talent in that locker room. And then we'd go out on Saturday and just get our asses handed to us by other teams that you would think aren't good football teams, and they're just so much better than you think they are. And that team would get their butts handed to them by the next level up, and the next, like every time you make that jump, it's so hard. So to talk about an NFL quarterback, like what it takes to be that good at that level, and the work it takes, the preparation, the what your body has to go through, I would imagine, to play at that level, is just so far beyond the scope of what I could fathom compared to my experience. And I always want to make that clear. So we'll see what happens with Baker. You know that he's always going to want to play and be competitive, but Baker himself knows exactly what it looks like when he tries to play through an injury he's not ready to play through yet, because that's what ended his time in Cleveland, right? Is that they kept letting him go back out there with an injury that should have been fully repaired and given him time to heal, and they didn't do that. The Bucs are in a weird spot where if he's able to play, they're going to try to play him because they just don't have a shot without him. No disrespect to Teddy Bridgewater, but I think 60 to 75% of Baker Mayfield, and they've still got a chance to go to the playoffs. I think if Teddy Bridgewater has to start the last 6 games of the season, I don't think they can make it.
We're here at Luke Easterling-Athlon Sports talking Buccaneers football. Did it feel like last night? And yes, it was painful to watch. Did it feel like the dam finally broke with all these injuries over the last couple of weeks, holding on, and it just kind of fell apart last night? Is that what it felt like to you?
Yeah, kind of. It definitely, like with Baker's injury, it definitely felt like this is the one they can't afford, right? Like they've missed. I mean, go down the list, right? They've had long stretches where they haven't had Tristan Wirfs or Mike Evans or Chris Godwin or Bucky Irving. Not all of these overlapped, by the way, but you're talking about 3-4 games without all of those guys. Luke Gedeke, the starting right tackle. Kalijah Cansey's been out since week 2. Jamel Dean's missed multiple games. Ian McCollum's missed a game here and there. Like they had, I mean, it feels like everybody's been hurt at some point in the season. You've been missing so many key players. Looks like they might get Bucky Irving back this week, which I know would be huge for them. Let's talk about that game. The Bucs need to run the ball no less than 30 times every game the rest of the season. Each of those 3 running backs, Tucker and Rachaad White and Bucky Irving, should get 10 plus carries each, no matter what happens at quarterback, because they're the best at running the ball than they are at anything else on offense, and they do it effectively. They need to do it more. They need to take the pressure off the passing game, I think. But no, I think what happened last night was, and this has happened all season long, the Bucs have proven they can beat bad teams, and they've proven they cannot beat good teams. And you can blame that on injuries all day long, but it's week 12, Mark. Everybody's hurt. Every team has injuries. Nobody is fully healthy, and nobody wants to hear your excuses. So what I would say is, in their current state, the Bucs are a mediocre football team. That's who they are. Like they're good enough to keep beating all the bad teams, that every time they face a good team, they lose. The one exception being the 49ers, but even that 49ers team was super banged up, and they had a backup quarterback. And so that's not even like I don't know, man. I just think that's what it is. Like the Rams are the best team in the NFL right now. So of course they lost by a lot, because the Bucs are not one of the best teams in the NFL. That's just the truth and the reality. And you can say, hey, well, if they were fully healthy, they might be. Yeah, they might be, but they're not. That's not what they are right now, and that's all that matters. And listen, by the end of the season, if Baker's injury isn't serious and they get Evans back and they get Cansey back and they get Irving back, and like maybe even Jalen McMillan, who's been out for the whole season with that neck injury at wide receiver, if by the end of the season, for the first time all year, we get to see the entire starting offense that came back from last year and then added Emeka Egbuka, if we finally get to see that group by the end of the season, can the Bucs make a run and do something dangerous in the playoffs? Absolutely they can. But right now, they're a mediocre football team because all the good teams keep beating them and all the bad teams keep losing to them, and that's what you are when that's what's happening.
I agree with you 100%. 3-game losing streak, and you're right. You take on Buffalo, you lose. New England, you lose. Philly, you lose. I mean, and that Rams, I want your thoughts. You said they're the best team. Why do you think the Rams are the best team in the NFL right now?
I think they're the most balanced team in the NFL right now. They're the team that can beat you any way they want to, which means any way you try to beat them, they'll just do it a different way, right? It's, they have a solid ground game, and obviously that starts with Sean McVay. Sean McVay is one of the best, if not the best, schematic mind in terms of offensive football that the NFL has right now, because they beat you whichever way you want to be beaten, right? They'll let you dictate to them, like, okay, what kind of defense are you going to play? Okay, then I'll beat you this way because you won't have an answer for that. The way there was a play last night, one of the first big catches by Puka Nacua on this crossing route, where everything they ran from the motion to the snap to the first, second and a half of the play looked exactly like their basic run play, where Puka comes in and kind of fits into the trenches and is a blocker inside like the trenches. And instead he just kept running and then ran a crossing route because it looked like a run play until it wasn't. Like, Sean McVay is just so good at making things look like the opposite of what they are and creating these wide open, layups for his passing game. And they can run the ball when they want to. Kyron Williams, Blake Corum, they've got solid guys. Anybody can catch the ball and make plays. But it has to do with the fact that they can do whatever they want on offense. The defense is really, really good. They can get after you with the pass rush. Emmanuel Forbes, who's a reclamation project as a former first rounder that was cut by the Commanders, I think he got targeted 7 times last night as a corner and did not allow a single reception. Like, he shut down Emeka Egbuka one-on-one. Like, they're getting better on defense and they're being able to shut you down at every level. And oh, by the way, Matthew Stafford is the runaway MVP right now. Like, he's got 30 touchdown passes and 2 interceptions with 6 games left. Like, it looks like the whole rest of the league is running at like half speed compared to what he's looking at and how he's playing. Him and Devontae Adams, like, they have like a telepathic connection and nobody can stop it right now. So when you have an MVP quarterback who's playing at the level Stafford is, you have the balance and the versatility on offense to do whatever you want. And you have the kind of completeness on defense where you have a pass rush that's getting home. You have coverage that's shutting things down. It's making life so miserable on other teams. And I think that's what makes them the best team in the league. They can beat you any way they want, and they're doing it.
We'll burn the tape of last night. How about that?
There's nothing helpful. Burn the tape and move on.
All right. So then the question is, with what you were saying earlier about the Buccaneers, now you have like 3 straight home games against some bad teams.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say they win these 3 in a row somehow. Are you excited, or are you still like, all right, we're still in the same spot that we were in?
Listen, the Bucs shouldn't lose another game. They really shouldn't. I think the only way they do is if Baker's out, and obviously that's a whole different ball game. Even then, I think if they're able to run the ball as effectively as they have, which again, when you don't have Baker Mayfield, maybe that makes that more difficult now because they know you're not going to throw as much, and so they stack the box. But they should be the better football team every single game they have left, because what do they have left? They have Arizona, they have Miami, they have the Saints, they have the Panthers twice. Like, they should run the table. They really, really should. And if they don't, they won't deserve the playoff spot. So if they don't take care of their business, I don't want to hear any excuses if they fall short and the Panthers win the division, which is very possible at this point, depending on what happens tonight against the 49ers. If Panthers win tonight against the 49ers, they're in first place by a half a game. That's just the way it is. So the Bucs have everything in front of them. They still play the most important team in their division twice in Carolina. They still have to face the Saints and the Falcons. But I believe they get both of those games at home, so that's huge. Like, they have everything they need in front of them still. I thought this team would be 6-5 at this point in the season. I really did. Like, and if you look back the last 2 years, we've said this before, they were 4-6 and 4-7 at this point in the season, like close to this point in the season. So the fact that they're 6-5 is helpful. They still made the playoffs and won the division each of those 2 seasons. So they still have everything they need in front of them. But they are going to have to prove that they're worthy of a playoff spot by beating a bunch of teams who aren't, because that's all that's left on their schedule, except for Carolina. It's really going to come down to those Panthers games. If they want this division, they're going to have to snatch it from the jaws of Carolina, because that team looks like they're going to be a problem.
Here's the tough question then. You've seen this nonstop the last couple of years. All right, you win the division, you go to the playoffs, then you lose. Is that good enough for you, or do you want more than that?
I think I want more than that now. And I think it's been a slow, and again, all you got to do is get in the dance, and anything can happen. The Bucs have proven that before by winning the Super Bowl as a wild card team in 2020. But I don't know, man. It's tough for me, because when you grow up a Bucs fan, in the years that I did, and you don't even see the playoffs until, you're 12 or 13 years old. I watched a lot of really, really bad football. And then you have long stretches from like the 2014 to 2020 where there's just so much bad football. It's very easy for me to, as a fan, to fall back on the fact that, like, man, if we win the division 5 years in a row, that's incredible. Like that should get me excited and be really happy about the state of the franchise. But there's also a growing frustration that if that's the ceiling, think about a Pittsburgh Steelers fan under Mike Tomlin, where like this last decade, that's really been their existence, where like, you're good enough to maybe have a winning record, but you're never going to be good enough to threaten anybody at the top. And so do I think that if everybody's healthy and Todd Bowles has his best day as a coordinator and Josh Grizzard has his best day as a coordinator, do I think the Bucs can go toe to toe with anybody in the NFC, anybody in the NFL? Yes, I do. But all of those things have to happen. Everything has to go right. And that's just not the reality of sports at all. Like, that's not the reality of really anything in life. Like, for all those things to work out, that's why you just want to make the playoffs, because when you go out on that field, there's a chance those things will happen for you. And that's all you want, is an opportunity. And so continuing to win the division every year, what does that do? It always just give it. You can hang a banner, like Bruce Arians used to say. It's a hat and t-shirt game. You're able to celebrate something. But if you want to be special, you want to be a champion, you have to prove that you can beat those other teams. The Bucs are 0 this year when it comes to facing the teams that they will face in the playoffs. Carolina is yet before them. But that's all I would say is I understand why Bucs fans are getting tired of it, because now we're spoiled. They won a Super Bowl, and then they won a division. Like, at some point, it's not going to be enough, because you have reset the standard. And that is going to be, unfortunately, that's going to be Todd Bowles' undoing if they don't get any further than that, is that he reset the standard for himself. And now if he's not going to be able to raise the ceiling, that's going to get him fired. That's the reality of it.
Is that what happened to Tony Dungy after a while?
Of course it is. Yeah, everybody. Yeah, we all know that. Like, everybody was appreciative, I think, of Tony's ability to take a team that was a perennial loser and turn them into something. And again, there's a lot of credit that goes around for that, for Monty Kiffin for building that defense, for Rich McKay for building that roster, and making the draft picks that they did to kind of set the foundation, signing guys like Hardy Nickerson, who were instrumental in setting a new culture there in the mid 90s. But Tony had a ceiling, because there was so much, and you can listen to players talk about this. I know Warren Sapp has talked about it before, where like the defense started to get frustrated that they were held to a higher standard, even in practice, than the offense was. Like, the expectations and the accountability was different between the defense and the offense. And Tony, as a defensive guy who played on defense and coached defense coming up, had a clear focus that this is going to be the priority, and the offense can be okay because the defense will bail us out. And the defense got tired of it. And that we saw that ceiling over and over in the playoffs, those back-to-back losses to Philly in the wildcard game, or in the first round of the playoffs. You saw what they were capable of without an offense. John Gruden shows up. The defense is still there with Monty Kiffin. All the offense had to be was mediocre. Everybody thinks that the Bucs offense was like, beating the brakes off of everybody. They were like 18th or 17th in offense that year, but that's all it took, because you had one of the best defenses in the history of the game. But that everybody knows that Tony was great at certain things, but I don't think he was. Everybody's like, oh, if they had just given him. I am of the belief that they made the right decision to move on at the right time, because the ceiling had been reached. It was clear. Even the players believed that. And it was proven the next year when they went and won the whole thing with Gruden.
Okay, birthday boy. Then this is the question I've never asked you before. If Ricky Prohl never catches that touchdown pass and your Buccaneers go to the Super Bowl, are you beating that Tennessee Titans team?
I'd love to find out, I think, is the only thing I would say. I don't know, just because that offense was so bad still. Like, they still couldn't score consistently enough. And I love Sean King. He's a good friend, and I love what he brought to the table that year. I don't even think he was the problem. Like, schematically, they just didn't have like enough around. I would have loved to see him develop and grow and have more help in that offense to be able to become a more successful quarterback in that offense. But I guess I would say this: I would put my money on that defense all day long. Like if they could have beaten the Rams on the road in that game, there's no way I wouldn't have gone into that Super Bowl thinking they were going to do anything but win against anybody after winning that game. I think I would have been super happy about their chances.
It was 6-5 there in St. Louis in the fourth quarter. 6-5. Again, that's what's so funny, where they always show you the videos. Greatest show on turf. 6-5. And then Ricky Prohl I know. I'm sorry I'm bringing this up. All right. It's only touchdown. I think the score in that Super Bowl was like 23-16. Remember, they stopped and they started to wear down the Rams in that fourth quarter with Eddie George. Mm-hmm. By the way, people start to forget about Eddie George. I met that individual, that man, a super nice guy. That is like, if you think of how do you build Superman as a human being? Oh my God.
He's a creative player. He's ridiculous.
Didn't win the Heisman, right? Or did he?
He did. Yeah, he won.
Okay, he won. All right, it was Rashaan Salam, 94, and then he won it over Tommy Frazier. And I met Tommy Frazier. We used to do a show in Omaha. He still talks about that, where he's still angry Eddie George won. So I love that.
I love that.
It's the best. All right, before I let you go, let's go to Thanksgiving. Look at these games, buddy. Look at what we have. I think Packers and Lions. Who do you like to win this game on Thursday?
I like the Lions because it's inside. If I'm not mistaken, that's a home game for Detroit, right?
Yeah, it always is for the last 100 years.
Always different, right? It's always that team is different on home turf, physically and I think theoretically. That crowd's going to be crazy. Green Bay's just been way too inconsistent this season, and I think Detroit's pissed off with how disjointed they've been this season, and I think they get right in this game. They go out and they beat Green Bay in that game at home.
They're probably the most talented team, and they're in third place in the division right now. They are angry. That Gibbs, that running back, holy macaroni, what he did on Sunday to survive Jameis Winston, by the way, who's also like playing out of his mind. Okay?
That touchdown catch by Jameis is my favorite play of the year so far. Like that's like not just catch it, but catch it in coverage 1-on-1, and then like stiff arm the linebacker and dance into the like. What I don't think we're gonna beat that.
Why did he not start week 1 for the Giants? I don't understand.
There's a lot of people that have wondered that from the beginning. I'll say that much.
And think about body language. He scores. His teammates are so excited for him. They're all behind Jameis. All right. I'm taking the Lions because I hate the Packers. I don't need to break down the game. All right. The Cowboys. The Chiefs. I never thought the two games on Thanksgiving, both of them would be great, both for playoff implication. I never thought that would ever happen.
Yeah, I mean, I got so much respect for what Brian Schottenheimer has done the last couple of weeks, and the way they finished that game on Sunday against the Eagles was very, very impressive. You want to talk about a mentally tough team? That's what it looks like to win games like they have, especially going through what they've gone through as a team for the last couple of weeks after Marshawn Kneeland. Like that is a truly mentally tough team to go through all of those things and to perform on game day the way they have the last couple of weeks. So kudos to that whole organization for the way they've been able to navigate that. I can't imagine what that's like. But that game's going to be. I'm still going to take the Chiefs just because I trust Andy Reid and that Chiefs team to do what they did on Sunday. Right, like it's 20-9 Indy in the fourth quarter. And everybody's like, I can't wait to see how the Chiefs win this game. Like everybody kind of knew it was happening. And I think the Colts did too, which is why they lost. I think they started to see ghosts a little bit and started to play a little too conservative. But yeah, I'll take the Chiefs, but the Cowboys are starting to make me nervous.
Cowboys. That's going to be interesting if they win this game. And I think it's going to get like 49, 50 million viewers. I think the way that game. Yeah. By the way, Jaguars 1 game out of the division. 1 game out. The Houston Texans 2 games out with 6 games to go. Thursday night, I don't care. I never watched that game. I know it's going to be probably not Joe Burrow and the Bengals taking on the Ravens.
Oh, it is Joe Burrow. It is Joe Burrow. Yeah. Lamar versus Joe Burrow. I'm locked in. I can't wait.
You know what? The Ravens have won 5 in a row, I think. But I don't think Lamar Jackson has played well in any of these games. Is he injured? I'm confused by him.
I think he is injured, but I think he's playing through it. That's why he's missed Wednesday practice both of the last 2 weeks, and he's just playing through it anyway. And you can tell he's not the same runner in particular. And because he can't I think he's just a little uncomfortable in the pocket because he knows he can't trust his ability to just take off and beat everybody speed wise, because he's a step behind, because I think that knee is nagging him. And I think defenses know that, so they're doing some things differently on the back seven to just take away everything and force him to run, because they know he'd rather not right now. And I think you're seeing that play out in the way the whole offense is playing.
All right, I've gone 25 minutes. This is my final question. You know where this is going. I'm a little angry the Cowboys won because the Eagles are now going to be motivated on Friday. Okay. But if I would have told you in August, 8-3 versus 8-3 on Black Friday, the only game on Friday, I have no expectations as a Bears guy, no expectations. But I will say this, like Morpheus from the Matrix, I'm starting to believe. I know you were talking about the Rams with that offense. I think the Bears have one of the best offenses in the NFL. No one takes us seriously, but wide receiver wise, we scare the hell out of people. That's all I'm going to say. What are your thoughts?
I mean, yeah, I completely agree. I think, the defense is going to have to at least just be mediocre, because they're so banged up, if they they should get Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon both back soon, which I think would be a huge help. They won that game without those two guys and without all of their starting linebackers on Sunday, by the way. All three were out of that game.
And one of the backups got injured. So yeah. I don't know who got – J.J. Watt made a joke on the call. Maybe Mike Singletary could get suit up.
J.J. Watt is fantastic, by the way, as an analyst. I have really enjoyed J.J. Watt. I think he's great. Listening to him call TJ's sack, by the way, that passed him while he was calling that game. He got more sacks than JJ. He passed him on that list on live TV. Was a really great call, by the way. That was super fun.
And let me just say this. When TJ Watt goes to the Hall of Fame, they will show that play.
Yes.
You think of what he grabbed his throwing arm, so Williams doesn't know what to do. And
you can't even tuck. You can't tuck the ball. Like, you have no control. Yeah. No, as far as the Bears go, this is exactly what everybody was hoping for from Ben Johnson, right? That this is what they were capable of. And then they go spend a top 10 pick on Loveland, a top 40 pick on Burden. Who are you going to cover? Like, you're going to have 2 or 3 guys one-on-one when you got a Dunze and Moore. And now you have those 2 guys added to it. They've had a really effective running game. The offensive line has been good enough, and Williams has been special. I don't want to play against them. That's for sure. If you're going to play against them, you're going to have to score 30 plus. You really are, to beat this team.
They scored 31 points yesterday. The defense and the special teams didn't do anything. I'm so used to, Urlacher will pick up the ball and run, and then Devin Hester, it is so wild. I know you're rolling your eyes after a while, and everyone watching this, I'm starting to believe you were talking about the Bucs. Just get into the playoffs. And
anything can happen. Anything can happen, baby. And
it's not like, look, I'm not a Patriots fan. Oh, well, we'll be good for the next 20 years. We're 2 years in a row. We did that once 20 years ago. That's it.
Ask the Washington Commanders how well that's going this year. What did everybody say last year? They losing the NFC title. They're like, oh, it's okay. That's a great. Next year they'll be even better. They'll have a chance to bounce. Like, it doesn't work that way. Sometimes you are one and done. That's it. Sometimes as close as you get is as close as you get. So soak up every moment of every opportunity you get to be relevant, because they're not guaranteed, man.
And Monungai, 7th round out of Rutgers, right? This is why, I know we go back and forth, and you're the draft expert. I'm not taking a running back with a top 10 pick in the first round. I'm not doing it. There's no way. There's no point.
I get it. There's 2 very different schools of thought here, and that it's, if you want a good running back who can rush for 1,000 yards, you can find that guy in Kyle Monungai in the 7th round. If you want last year Saquon Barkley, you got to take him in the top 10. Yeah. Like, you have to take special guys early, because they can be special. If you just want pretty good, a lot of those guys are going to be available on day 3. You can get those guys. It's just about what you prioritize and whether or not you want to take the swing for the special guy, because when that happens, you can win a Super Bowl with a guy like that.
I know Jaguar fans, they hate when I keep saying this. In hindsight, if you would have just stayed with the 5th pick, you should have taken Colson Loveland or Tyler Warren for Trevor Lawrence. Yeah. That's what it should have been. I know. All right. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving with your family, and I'll see you next week. All right, buddy?
Hey, likewise, buddy. Take care.